Folks, the condo market truly is in uncharted territory. I'll explain what I mean and then get into the latest home prices and insights for condos across the GTA for week ending July the 9th, 2025. If you want to speak with me, directly with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. There's a lot of people that won't be able to relate to what I'm about to speak about here. If you're kind of on the peripherals of the condo market and just observing, you may not really feel what I'm talking about. But if you're currently a condo seller, you'll know exactly what I'm speaking about. And if you're thinking of selling your condo, this is what you really got to get your mindset for and prepare. This condo market is it's like none other that we've seen before. Condo sellers today, they remember when they purchased. And if they bought pre-construction, there's a good chance that they stood in line. There's a good chance that they felt lucky that there was a unit left over in that building. The building sold out in 1 or 2 days or the same day, and they were so lucky that they got to buy what they bought if they bought pre-construction. If they bought resale, there's a lot of sellers today that remember when they purchased, there was a bidding war. There was an offer night. They were competing, and there was 1 or 2 for sale, and they had to jump on it quickly to buy. That's what the condo sellers today remember. So now they're looking to sell their condo, and one of the ways we come up with potential selling prices is look at the most recent sales. Well, there aren't any. The last sale was 5 months ago, 6 months ago. So those numbers are not so reliable anymore to what would sell today. And you're also, if you're thinking of selling your condo, you're noticing, man, there's a lot of condos for sale. We can say a lot of condos across the GTA, for sure. There's thousands for sale. But just in your building, that look pretty similar to your condo, there's 5, 6, 10 for sale in your building that look just like yours. And by me saying they're for sale, means they haven't sold. And when you look at those prices, we can conclude that those prices they're currently listed at are not working. They're not the right price. So you're a new condo seller and you're thinking, man, if all these people are for sale and those prices aren't working, and those prices are already lower than you expected to go out on the market with, you decide after all that research, decide, okay, I'm going to list just a little bit lower than everybody else. I'm going to have the best price in this building. It takes guts to say that because you know what you bought it for, you know all your different, you know what your next plan is. You're looking at your mortgage and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to sell it for lower than what I thought I would, and you're going to list it lower than everybody else. You go through all the work, your condo's on the market, and nobody's coming to see it. There are few, or in many cases, zero, no showings. And you're scratching your head as a condo seller. Like, this is unprecedented that you're the lowest price condo and nobody's coming to see it. What do you do? These are the decisions condo sellers are faced with right now. Unprecedented volume of condos for sale. And the fact that you go on the market and no one's coming to see it, that's absolutely nuts. But it's the reality for the majority, the vast majority of condo sellers today. I feel like I'm the bearer of bad news when I tell you all this, but I don't do this show just to tell you what you want to hear. I'm telling you the reality of how things are. And it's about to get, or it's going to feel for condo sellers, that it's about to feel a bit worse, because we're also heading into July. Well, we're in July and now August, two of our typically slower months. Now, miracles can happen, things can change, and all of a sudden activity can pick up, but that would be what we call hopium. Chances are things are going to continue as they go every year, and activity in general is going to slow down for July and August. So whatever condo sellers are feeling now is about to get a little bit worse. And you need to mentally prepare yourself for this. This is the condo market today. And I don't just want to say it because I want to give out bad news, but it's to prepare everybody. That's what you should be expecting, and that's what you should be prepared for. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. And if you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, we're talking about condos for the GTA. We got a lot to talk about. What I'm going to start off with is a monthly data going back multiple years. This is just for the City of Toronto condo apartments. I've got here for the month of June 2025, but I'm comparing all the way back to June 2021. The black for sales and for average price, that's the June numbers highlighted. So when we look at sales for June this year, 2025, 990 condo apartments were sold. Those sales, compared to the last couple of years, that's fewer sales than what we were selling before. And you can kind of see how much fewer sales we're actually doing in condos. Now, average sold price also has been trending down. The current average sold price is $731,000, which is up about $30,000 from the previous month. However, overall trending down, $731,000 compared to last year, it's 4.2% lower. Compared to 2023, we're 5% lower. Compared to, we're 5%. Compared to 2022, 5.3% lower. And to 2021, 1.9% lower. But this is all part of the craziness we've experienced over the last few years. If we go kind of a little bit further back compared to, say, before the health crisis, so I'm going to skip 2020, go to 2019, the current average sold price of $731,000 versus 2019 average sold price, we're up almost 15% compared to where the price was in 2019. That's a summary of condos, average condo prices and sales going back for 5 years now. Let's look at our regular program. Data broken down by week. We're going to be focused on City of Toronto, York Region, and Peel. Now, Toronto and York Region, right now, average sold prices, pretty much the same, not far. But Peel is still way off compared to what average prices are in York Region and Toronto. We're going to start off with the City of Toronto. For a week ending July the 9th, 186 condos were sold. 17 of those sold at $1 million or more. Now, for most neighborhoods, specifically when I speak about the freehold market, sales are trending down right now. You get into July and August, it's usually a little bit slower activity-wise. And so we see sales trending down, not so much for condos, 186. And if we look at the whole year, that's our second highest week of sales. So I don't know what's happening with condo sales, but they're not trending down. Average sold price is trending down. Currently, we're sitting at $667,000 is the average condo price. And for this year, there's only 1 week that was lower, and it was 665. So kind of opposite. Sales are higher, average sold price lower. Compared to last year, 667 for the same week a year ago is 11% lower. The median price of 585 is 9% lower. The dotted line, the 4-week moving average, kind of shows us different trends. Average price slightly trending down, median price overall kind of flat. 186 were sold, only 18% sold at list price or more. There are lots still available for sale. So active listings, the previous week was down from the week before that, but this week ending July 9th, active listings, the amount of properties or condos in this case available for sale, that's up a bit. And based on how many actually sold, only 3% of all available condos for sale actually sold. So 97% did not sell. And that's just for the week. Months of inventory for the city of Toronto sitting at 7.8 months of inventory, which is down quite a bit from where we've been the last 3 weeks. And each week was over 9 months of inventory. Here's the city broken down into 9 different sections. Let's look at average sold price. So average sold price for the whole city sitting at $667,000. Man, there really is a contrast in different areas. So Scarborough, 508 is the average sold price, which is much lower than 667. East York, Riverdale, like I know only 9 were sold, but we're not seeing a ton of condo sales to begin with. The average sold price there is $749. Downtown, $670,000, and that's pretty similar to the overall average. High Park, $661. Etobicoke, $717. Midtown, so the York Mills, Rosedale, Midtown, Bloor, Yonge and Bloor, Bay and Bloor, all that area, Yorkville, well, that has a really high average sold price, sitting at $1,127,000 is the average condo price. Uptown, $639. So big variety there as to what average sold prices are for the city. But let's look at things from 1-bedroom condos versus 2-bedroom condos. What's going on with that? Here's 1-bedroom condos for week ending July the 9th. 80 1-bedroom condos sold. Average sold price is $535,000. Average price slightly trending down. Compared to last year, 535 is 12% lower than where the average sold price was a year ago. And if you look at that contrast between this year versus last year, 8, 9, 10 is kind of normal as far as the difference, year-over-year difference in average sold price. Here's 2 bedrooms. There was far more 2 bedrooms that sold than the 1 bedroom. So 93 2-bedroom condos sold. Average sold price $790,000, trending downwards. Compared to last year, $790,000 is 5% lower year over year. So just in comparison of 1-bedroom versus last year's prices, 2-bedroom versus last year's price, kind of looks like the 2 bedrooms are faring much better when we compare to a year ago. Here's the comparison between the two. Well, $535,000 for 1-bedroom, $790,000 for 2-bedroom. It's a $255,000 price difference between 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom. Let's look at price per square footage. So let's leave bedrooms aside. We're only focused on square footage and price. Well, the 2 square footage ranges 600 to 699, and the 1,000 to $11.99. Those are where we saw the most amount of sales. So 34 sales and 32 sales. Now, average sold price naturally increases with the increase in square footage. Prices are often based on per square footage price. So the bigger the unit, the more you're going to pay. So that's no surprise to anybody that average sold price is increasing with the square footage increasing. But the cost per square foot has the opposite effect. The larger units have a lower cost per square foot. The smaller units have a larger cost per square foot, but there's no average in here that is over $1,000. The highest is $967 per square foot. And so I put this chart up for people to think about. They bought pre-construction at $1,400, $1,800 a square foot. This is resale. You're buying at half of that in some cases. So here's a cost per square foot analysis. Let's look at York Region condos. Sales, very few. 25 condos sold across York Region. One of them sold at $1 million or more. Sales are trending down in York Region. Average sold price kind of looks like it's trending up. For week ending July 9th, average sold price is $662,000. Excuse me. 662 is 2% lower than the same week a year ago. The median price of 645 is 6% lower, and overall average price and median price trending upwards. 25 were sold, 20% sold at list price or more. Of all the listings available for sale, we're talking about condo listings in York Region, 2% sold. That's it, only 2%. Listings shot way up, and active listings up from the previous week. Overall active listings was trending up, and it looks like it still is. Months of inventory, way up there at 11.1 months of inventory. Here's Peel Region condos. For week ending July the 9th, 31 condos were sold across Peel Region. No condos sold at $1 million or more. Average sold price is $535,000. Prices seem to be trending down across Peel Region for condos. Compared to last year, $535,000 is 11% lower. The median price of $515,000 is 8% lower. 31 were sold, 23% sold at list price or more. 2.6% of the available condos for sale actually sold. Lots of new condo listings, 171 were listed, and months of inventory down a little bit. We're now at 9 months of inventory, but still way up there. Here's a quick summary of months of inventory. Doesn't matter how you look at it, you're in a buyer's market. Yeah, there's going to be some, I'll call it rare situations where condo goes up and buyers are fighting for it, but that's rare. The norm, there's lots of condos for sale, pretty much a buyer's market when it comes to condos. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.